You poured time, effort and money into building raised beds, envisioning rows of thriving greens, plump tomatoes and fragrant herbs. But instead of the lush bounty you imagined, you're facing stunted plants, soggy soil, or bare patches that refuse to grow. It's frustrating, but the problem isn't your dedication. It's often 3 common mistakes that quietly sabotage your raised beds. The good news is that these mistakes are fixable. With a few strategic changes, your garden can rebound, producing more vibrant crops than ever. Today, we're diving into the 3 biggest mistakes gardeners make with raised beds and showing you how to correct them for consistent, thriving growth. You might be using the wrong soil mix for your plants. The foundation of any successful raised bed is soil, but many gardeners assume that any garden soil will do. In reality, using substandard soil or the wrong mix can choke roots, prevent proper drainage, and starve your plants of nutrients. Raised beds need a balance of fertility, structure, and moisture retention. Heavy clay or compacted soil can hold too much water, drowning roots, while overly sandy soil can drain too quickly, leaving plants parched. The solution is to create a layered soil profile that mimics natural forest floors while providing excellent drainage. Start with a base layer of coarse material, shredded bark, small branches or even gravel to prevent waterlogging. Follow with a mix of high-quality compost topsoil and organic matter such as worm castings or aged manure. Testing your soil for pH and nutrient balance can also identify deficiencies before they become plant killers. For example, leafy greens thrive in slightly acidic to neutral soil, while root crops often prefer slightly looser, sandy soil to expand freely. Correcting your soil mix transforms raised beds from underperforming plots into productive powerhouses. Overwatering or underwatering is quietly killing your plants. Water management is honestly deceptively tricky in raised beds. Because they sit above ground, raised beds can dry out faster than in-ground gardens, but poorly draining beds can also become waterlogged. Overwatering leads to root rot, fungal disease and slow growth, while underwatering stresses plants, reduces nutrient uptake and causes flowers or fruits to drop prematurely. Many gardeners don't realize that soil moisture needs fluctuate depending on weather, plant type and stage of growth. To fix this, adopt a system of careful observation and adjustment. A simple trick is to check soil moisture by inserting your finger 2 to 3 inches into the soil. It should feel slightly damp, not saturated or bone dry. Installing drip irrigation or soaker hoses can provide consistent moisture without oversaturating the soil. Mulching the surface with straw leaves or wood chips also slows evaporation, keeps roots cool, and reduces the frequency of watering. By tuning into your bed's specific water needs, you create a micro-environment where plants can thrive without stress. Ignoring sunlight and plant spacing sabotages productivity. Even the best soil and watering routine can't compensate for inadequate sunlight or crowded plants. Raised beds are often placed in convenient spots without considering the path of the sun. Partial shade, Nearby fences or, tall structures can block crucial hours of light, leaving your plants leggy, weak and, low-yielding. Similarly, packing plants too closely together might seem efficient at first, but it actually limits airflow, increases the risk of disease, and forces your plants to compete for nutrients. Fixing this, honestly, requires a bit of strategic placement and spacing. Take the time to observe your garden at different times of day, just to make sure your beds receive at least 6 to 8 hours of sunlight for most vegetables. And remember, taller plants should be positioned on the north side of beds, so they don't end up shading the smaller crops. It's really important to follow the recommended spacing guidelines for each plant species. For instance, tomatoes need more room than radishes to develop those strong roots and healthy foliage. By giving your plants room to breathe and making sure they get the light they need, you dramatically increase both yield and resilience against pests and disease. Each of these mistakes, soil issues, improper watering, and poor sunlight or spacing, can individually stunt your garden, but together they create a compounding effect that undermines everything you plant. The key is to address all three systematically. Revitalize your soil with compost and organic matter implement, consistent watering practices, and re-evaluate sunlight exposure and plant layout. Even small tweaks, like adding mulch or adjusting bed orientation, can have an immediate impact. For example, a raised bed previously producing sparse lettuce can, after soil amendment and proper watering, yield enough to supply a small household continuously. By approaching raised bed gardening with this holistic mindset, you transform them from underperforming projects into reliable, productive ecosystems. You'll notice stronger roots, vibrant leaves, and a surge in both fruit and vegetable output. This methodical, observant approach mirrors what professional horticulturists and experienced urban farmers practice every day, making your raised beds not just functional, but thriving landscapes of abundance. Raised beds are powerful tools for backyard gardeners, but they demand attention to soil, water, and light. Correcting these three common mistakes — improper soil mix, inconsistent watering, and poor sunlight or spacing — can turn failing beds into flourishing gardens. If you found this guide helpful, subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with fellow gardeners and history of gardening enthusiasts. With the right techniques, every raised bed in your yard can become a lush, productive sanctuary that rewards patience, observation, and care.